My name is Omar. I'm 24 years old, Syrian, living in Sweden. I've been here for 4 years. The 3 years before it, I was in prison.
All right, so how come a teenager ends up in the most notorious prison in Syria? What was your crime?
I actually didn't commit any crime. The only crime was that I was young enough to demonstrate, to go on the street and say freedom with all these people who were in the street during the first year of the Syrian revolution. I was 15 years old, so I thought it was very fun to be in the street with everybody else. So I went down, started demonstrating. I just found myself in political prison because I was asking for freedom. Even if I was 15 years old, didn't understand what freedom means, I just liked being with people on the street. And I got arrested in 7 different times. And the first time I just ended up in prison for 2 3 days, and then my family get me out of prison, and then I've been arrested again and again, and my mom and dad could pay money. It's a very corrupted system in Syria, so if you pay money you got what you want, and my family couldn't risk losing me, so they paid money. They used this gaps in the system just to try to get me all out all the time. But in the last time I was arrested, in the seventh time, they killed my dad, they killed my brother, so nobody could come inside and take me out of prison. So I stayed there for 3 years.
Well, I would like you to describe one ordinary day in the prison, if you can.
During my last time in prison, I was arrested in 10 different prisons. I was transferred to different prisons all the time. So I will choose to tell you how it looks like inside Naya prison in one normal day. You wake up with a question, the guard asking question. He's standing in front behind the door in front of the corridor and asking question, how many dead bodies do you have? And there is a prisoner in every room who is responsible to answer this question. Not two prisoners, only one single prisoner who was responsible to answering this question, and this person gonna die, so they choose a new person. So when the guard asks in the very early morning, ask how many dead bodies do you have, and you could hear this number saying, like, from a room one they saying we have 10 dead bodies, from room two somebody saying we have five, from room number 10. I was in room number 10 for a long time, and I spent 1 year inside Naya prison, and we every day had dead bodies with doctors come inside, and the doctor is like a killer. So the doctor come and ask some questions to some prisoners, especially new prisoners who don't know how to answer this kind of questions. Like, anybody sick here? If you say you're sick, they kill you. You're not allowed to be sick. You're not allowed to be tired. And they can ask you like very questions just to make you, to mentally torture you, like questions like, do you miss your family? Are you bored here? Do you want to eat fruit? Because like it's horrible questions, because you love your family, you miss your family, and it was like years since you saw a color, not fruit, a color. So seeing a fruit or having a fruit in your hand would means everything, would means life for you. And so they worked very, very hardly to physically and mentally torture us all the time. We got the food inside, which is not enough for two people, but you have to share this food with 30, 40 people. And, everybody's starving. You can't be inside Naya prison before serving at least 1 or 2 years in any prisons, like high level. You don't get there. It's like Harvard. It takes time. It takes hard work to be inside Naya prison. And then you share the food, and you share the pain, the dead bodies. You see people dying during the day, and the guards then they just come inside like tours, and they kill people. The guard is like bored, has nothing to do if they don't come inside and torture people. They have nothing to do if they don't come and ask you questions about your mom, about your sister, just trying to make you angry, to try to get you to do something wrong, like trying to fight, because in this case they can kill a lot of people. They can come any time. The guard can come inside and just complaining about the bad weather because it's too hot outside and they can come inside and kill people for that reason. If his wife didn't cook dinner for him last night, he can come inside and kill 10 people. So that's how one day looked like.
That's really horrible. Well, you said that you have not committed any crime, but what about the other prisoners? Did they commit any crime?
We had with us children who was 12 years old in prison. Do you think this 12 years old kid committed a crime? To be not in a normal prison, we were in political prison, in a military prison as well. So it's like there doesn't make any sense to take me as a minor to such a prison because it's not for crimes like I may be able to do. I didn't commit any crime because I was a kid when I ended up in prison, and I was like, I grow up like as any normal kid in the world. I don't have a goal to commit crime. I want to have normal life, go to school, have friends, watch movie, and have fun. Like I don't want to kill anybody. But during the torture, I was forced to say that I killed 10 officers. I was 17 years old when I said I killed 10 officers. How could an officer who asked me this question, forcing me to say that I killed 10 officers, believe that I killed 10 officers? I didn't have a big body. I wasn't trained. I was strong. I wasn't smart enough to find a way to kill people. I wasn't. So he knew that I was just saying I killed because I was like tired. I was scared of torture. I just want them to stop torturing me. I could not do that anymore. It's not like I was there alone. I was with my 3 cousins, 2 male and 1 female cousin. They were tortured next to me. They were forcing my cousin to torture me. They were forcing me to torture my cousin. My cousin died. Both of them, my cousins, died in my arms. I just answered the guards in the answer that they would like to listen to hear, which is I killed, I'm a terrorist, and I am a spy for Israel, I'm a spy for the US, I'm a spy for Al-Qaeda. I was a spy for everybody.
Where did you find the power to survive in such harsh conditions? I really want to know.
Took me a very long time. It took a very long time to find the hope, to find the power to try to survive. Because in the first 6 months in prison, I was trying to die. Because you wanna die to end this horrible life. You don't want to be alive, waiting for the torture in every second, waiting to die in every second. You don't want to live this life. And I always wanted to die, but in the end, I just felt when the death comes so close, I knew that I wanted something else. I saw that when my second cousin Bashir died in my arms. It was the day when I lost everything. I had nothing else to lose, and I was just sitting in prison, and I said, now I'm the only one. I am responsible for only myself. It's time to try to survive, because now I don't need to carry anybody to the bathroom. Now I don't need to protect anybody else. Now I don't need to do anything. Now I can take care of myself. And when I decided to do that, I started to see a lot of people around me cares about me. This care make me I found power in this care. People start to care about me. Doctors, prisoners who were doctors, start to tell me how to take care of my wounds. And psychologists start to tell me how to feel good even if we get 4 hours of torture. And an engineer, how to rebuild the prison. A lawyer, how to have a dictator-free prison. And teacher, how to share our knowledge. We start to create kind of a university. And when we realize that we have a lot of knowledge, we start to call it University of Whispers, because we were not allowed to speak. So the voice you hear right now, I didn't hear in 3 years. So I could not hear my voice. I could not see my face. I don't know how I looked like. I was like, I really wanted to die in the beginning, but I was like, at some moments you sit down, you have nothing to think about, you thought about everything exists and not existing in this planet. and one thing you want to see. How do I look like now? I'm 20 years old. How do I look like? I was arrested on the last time when I was 17. Between 17 and 20, your face changed, your nose, your eyes, your mouth, your voice. I was like so excited to hear my voice because we were not allowed to speak. So I was just want to see if my voice get deep voice like my father's voice. And I could not try that at all. In prison, if they hear your voice, you will be killed.
See, that's really horrible. Well, what I would like to know is, have any of your other prison inmates survived, or you're the only one?
I'm definitely not the only one who survived from Sinai prison, but we are very, very few people who survived. You can't count easily in your hands how many people survived from Sinai prison. But from branch 215, where I spent 2 years, like 215 is a prison, but it has a number called 215. I don't know anybody who's been there for as long as I was who survived. And when I left 215, everybody else I knew died. And even when I left Sinai, everybody I knew died.
Right. Well, you often deliver speeches about your prison experiences. So what was the motive to start doing that?
Some people found some hope in me because they saw me surviving through the years in prison. Like when they ask me, how long have you been here? And I say 2 years, 3 years, people get excited. What? Like they get shocked and excited. Well, you may survive and get out of prison. If you get out of prison, don't forget us. Try to do something. Speak about us. Speak up. Try to get somebody to help us. If not help us, try to get somebody to hear the story behind us. We shouldn't be forgotten. How many people died to save my life? I didn't survive because I was strong. I didn't survive because I survived torture. I didn't survive because I get enough food. I survived because other people sacrificed their lives to give me a life. So when I get out of prison, I have a responsibility to care about these people. I have a responsibility. There is not only one soul inside me, it's souls of people who died, I should fight for them to make the wrong right.
I see. Well, you now live in Sweden, so how was the path to Sweden? I would like to know, did you face any difficulties like many other refugees?
Well, my way to Sweden wasn't that easy as you can imagine. I had first to fly from Syria, so I had to go from Syria to Turkey, like walking. So I went to Turkey, from Turkey to Greece with a rubber boat. A lot of people, and people's like risking their life to take the rubber boat in the ocean. They may die, and I get to Greece and I waited for 10 days, sleeping on the streets, getting very little food. I didn't know what to do. I could not communicate with people. I was isolated, like being in an island far away from civilization. I had nothing. We had no newspaper. I didn't know what refugees means. I didn't know what like Europe means. What is Europe? What is Sweden? I didn't know anything. I was isolated in a cell room. I don't see. It was dark all the time. I wasn't seeing anything. Just people who looked like death. So I had nothing about the world, the future, nothing. I walking, coming to Greece, waiting. I didn't understand the system. I didn't understand anything of what's happening around me. And I just felt like I was thrown to the next country. Nobody's taking me. I was sick. I had tuberculosis. Tuberculosis, it was a dangerous sickness because at that time I was 34 kilos, which is like the weight of a kid 9 years old. And I was 20 years old. And I got to Greece. They sent me to the next country, which was Macedonia, and then Serbia. And during Macedonia and Serbia, to be really honest, it wasn't a good treatment. We felt like we were not normal human going on our way to get help somewhere.
What about Macedonia? How were you treated here?
I actually wasn't treated well. I tried to. There was some guards around, like soldiers or migration against you guys or somewhere around. I was just trying to tell them I am sick. I had to be sick. But the problem is my younger brother, 10 years old, he's with me. I can't I can't just be frozen next to him. I can't let him froze. I need more clothes. And there was some people around on the street trying to help, but the Macedonian system wasn't helping us. I mean, the guards there who was managing everything wasn't helping, to be really honest. So we wished to get some help. I didn't understand why this guys was like, I mean, for me, they were much better than the guards in prison where I was. But if I compare them today with the people who's like the migration against the guys in Sweden, it's different. It's different, unfortunately. And so we were like, you had no right to stay somewhere. But the good thing, I like how they wrote my last name, and they wrote my last name in Macedonia in a tent somewhere. They come and they asked me, "What's your name?" I said, "Omar al-Shogre." And they wrote it in a way, and I didn't change it after. It's like we have different alphabets, so they wrote it in
Yes.
your way, and I still have it in this way, and it's like fun. So that's the only good memory from there, actually. Then I was passed to the next country, Macedonia, Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia, Austria, then Germany, then Denmark, then Sweden. Why Sweden? Because it's the first country that gives me medical treatment for my sickness.
So when you came to Sweden, you didn't know any English or Swedish. I want to know how long did it take you to blend in the Swedish society? How did they accept you? I mean, how much time did it take?
I got into the Swedish society from the second day, actually, in the hospital. I was in the hospital. The doctor started to take care of me, and it's like I found connection between me and the nurse and the doctor. They tried to help. I felt some humanity I missed in many years in Syria. I missed this humanity in my way to Sweden, and I saw it in the doctor who I met in the room in the hospital. I saw it in the nurse, and I saw it when I left the hospital when they really wanted to follow me to try to help me. I found it much more when I was in the waiting room in a hospital in Stockholm, sitting in the waiting room, and a guy in the other side looking at me. I'm looking at him. He moves, sit next to me. His name is Jacob. I could not communicate in any language, not English, not Swedish. He took Google Translate and try to find my native language. He found it, and he started speaking to me through Google. For me, it was, amazing. We had no phones in prison. And he started to speak to me through Google Translate. We had a kind of long conversation there. And then he asked me, "Do you want to be my friend on Facebook?" I didn't have Facebook. I just downloaded Facebook and add him. We became friends on Facebook. The day after, he introduced me to his mom, to his family. The day after, I was in their summer house. Few months later, I was living with them. And now they are my Swedish family. They are my family. So I got into the society very quickly because I learned the way of communicating with people during my time in prison. So if I say prison was horrible, that's a side, but prison was amazing, taught me a lot. Prison taught me how to make connection with people, how to react to things, how to solve problems, because prison was problems, and I had to solve everything all the time. So I come to a new country, easy country, nothing big to solve. It's easy to survive. It's easy to thrive in a new country like Sweden, where the system is safe. When you feel safe in this system, you're not scared the police gonna attack you because you're saying something. If you don't commit crime, they're not gonna attack you, which makes you safe. Like, that's the police I read about in the books when I was a child, not the police we have in Syria.
What is your opinion on Syria today, seeing it and reading about it from the news? Or
It's very sad. The world is not taking actions. Only the Russians, the Iranians have the right to go inside and support the regime to kill the people in northern Syria and Idlib. Right now, people are suffering the most. There is like Idlib, the city, the last city where the regime sent all the rebels to this city. Now they're bombing it. There's 4 million people there. There's 2 million children dying right now. The Russians, the Iranians, the regime, they killing everybody. They want to take over so there is no more rebels in the country. You know, more than half the population of the Syrians, they are refugees. And this 4 million in Idlib, they're going to be killed because Turkey, they're not opening their borders, so people are not going to be able to go there. And the regime is bombing. You know, we expecting chemical weapons attack at any time. We're expecting them to kill everybody at any time. People just want to die. I can feel how people are feeling right now. They want to die, but they want to die quickly. Nobody would like to suffer. But you don't want to die if you have your child in your arms. You're carrying your child. You want to survive for your child's future, not for yourself. So these people, like 2 million adults and 2 million children, it's catastrophic. We have to do something. Just by telling, we do a lot of favor for these people who are suffering. They really asking you to tell their stories.
Would you ever like to move? Would you like to move to Syria ever again?
Syria is my home. Syria is in my heart. I love my country. I love the people there. I love everything I had in Syria except the regime. So I definitely would like now to be in my country, but I know moving back now or tomorrow gonna mean that I'm gonna lose my life. I'm gonna be killed the second I return back. So I know that I can do more for Syria when I'm outside the country right now. And when the regime is over, it's done, it's destroyed, I'm going to be back home. Definitely.
What is your advice to anyone who faces hardship in life, no matter what kind of hardship? It doesn't have to be the same as yours.
I mean, every hardship, anything you meet, you think is hard, is hard. You can't compare my experience to any other experience, not because my harder or their harder experience, but because it's different. Everybody's experience from their perspective is very different. So what you do about any crisis, any hardship, is you have to breathe. Take a deep breath and try to think about it. What could make this hardship the most amazing thing in your life? I will tell you in the way I saw it. During my time in prison, they attacked my village, they killed my dad, they killed my brother. Prison protected me. If I was outside prison, I will die with my family. So I survived because I was in prison. During my time in prison, I got TBC. TBC made it easier for me to escape prison. So I escaped prison, and during my way to Turkey, I was almost killed. But when they knew that I had TBC and they may get the TBC as well, they get scared. So I survived thanks to TBC, the sickness. I got to Sweden. In the waiting room, I met my Swedish brother. I met my Swedish family in the hospital. If I didn't have this sickness, if I had never been in prison, I would not have this amazing life I have today. I will not have something important to fight for. It's the great feeling when you feel like you know what you're fighting for. That's a great feeling. You can do good for people. Doing something good for people, it's the best treatment for anything you go through.